Hi everyone, Chef Nicholas Lodge here. In this YouTube video, I'm going to show you a really cute idea for Halloween and fall, making mini pumpkins in my Flower Pro poppy mold. So let's get started. So these cute little pumpkins, which you can make into jack-o'-lanterns, half pumpkins and 3D pumpkins, are perfect to use for cupcakes, cookies. You can use them on, for example, decorating a cinnamon pumpkin cheesecake. You can do all sorts of fun things with them. And so I'm going to show you how I make these. They're actually going to be made in my Flower Pro. So they're made Flower Pro, which is my sort of unique line of molds in collaboration with Katie Sue Designs. So this is my poppy mold, and I'm actually going to be using this cavity here, which is what I use to make the poppy seed heads. But this also, when you turn it upside down, makes an excellent pumpkin, as you will see. Now, when we use the Flower Pro molds, these are food-grade silicone molds, and these are all available on our website on nicholaslodge.com. And then you click on Shop, and then click on Flower Pro. And so this is the poppy. And the poppy mold, Flower Pro is quite unique because there are over 50 free to access YouTube videos which go through all the details of obviously showing you how to use all of the molds. And then there's also a video assisted and then with a book. So what's really nice is the ultimate learning experience. You can, obviously this is book 3, which just recently came out. And in book 3, the poppy is shown in here. So this goes through step by step. So as well as watching the video, you've obviously got all of everything you need to know how to make the poppy. And you can see the stunning arrangement of poppies. Flower Pro is quite unique in the respect that with traditional flower making, you use cutters and veiners. But Flower Pro, we don't use any cutters. Just by pushing the paste into the mold, it's going to give you these beautiful poppies. This also has on it the poppy seed head. It obviously has the center, it has also the leaves, and 3 different sizes of poppies can be made. So I'm going to use this part of the mold. Now for making my pumpkins, there are several options you have. You can use modeling chocolate, so you can take white modeling chocolate and color with some orange coloring. You could of course use like orange candy melts, compound chocolate, and actually make orange modeling chocolate. You can also use marzipan, which you could of course flavor as well. And then you can also use rolled fondant or sugar paste, as it's known in Europe and other countries. Now when we use modeling chocolate, you don't basically have to do anything to it, nor do you marzipan. And also when you are using a mold, as you'll see, I'm going to put a little bit of vegetable shortening, some vegetable fat into here. That's only necessary when you're using fondant or sugar paste, all right, because marzipan and modeling chocolate has natural oil, so it releases from a mold. So if you were going to use these, I've used these, for example, half pumpkins to decorate each section of a cheesecake, of a pumpkin spice cheesecake. So obviously modeling chocolate or marzipan is going to really have a nice flavor if you're using it more as a dessert or on a cookie. But you can also make the 3-dimensional ones. These are really cute to use on top of cupcakes. You can use these if you're doing, say, like a gingerbread wanted house for Halloween. You could use these by the front door. So really, really cute. So anyway, but if you're using sugar paste, I'm just going to firm this up a little bit with some Tylose or CMC. And if you go to nicholaslodge.com, I have a whole loads of downloadable PDFs of recipes. And there's a recipe of there of how, if you wanted to do a larger quantity, you take 115 grams of the fondant or sugar paste, and then you use 1/4 teaspoon of Tylose, 1/4 teaspoon of vegetable shortening. When you're just doing a few of something, like if you only needed to make, say, like 8 little pumpkin halves, then you can just take your orange paste, just dip it into your Tylose powder, and that will just tighten up the paste instantly. All right, so you just literally can dip it in. But so when you go to the website, you'll see there's a button there, or you just click on recipes and templates, and that's where you'll find there's recipes for royal icing and how to modify fondant and lots of different projects there. Now we're going to use, when we do this, we're going to use a size guide. So size guide is a unique way that I teach my students or anybody here watching how to measure your paste. And so we use, for the pumpkin, we're using a number 11 small size. So on the size guide, now this is a plastic one, which is sold separately, and in book 3, so for example, if you're buying any of my Flower Pro books, there is a size guide in the back, a thick card size guide, and you can just cut around that with a pair of scissors to give you a cardboard one. But we also do have, as I said, a new plastic one available. And this is great because it makes it really durable. You can wipe it clean. So you want to make a number 11 small size piece of paste. So what you're doing here is you're just going to take your number 11, so that wants to just go through the hole. All right, so just going to be a number 11 that goes through the hole. And then what I'm going to do here is, so if you were making, say, like 8 half pumpkins, you then would make another 7 balls of paste the same size. Just keep those underneath a little pot or a container just to stop them drying. Now once you've got your pumpkins made, your little balls made, we're going to make the pumpkin. Now I'm going to take a little bit of vegetable shortening or white fat, and there's 2 ways to do that. You can take a little bit of this on your finger. You can also use solid coconut oil as well, and you can just rub that into the mold. Alternatively, you can take a paintbrush and just put a little bit of shortening on the back of your hand. Just use a paintbrush, and I just keep this for this purpose. So in a lot of my Flour Pro molds I use obviously the vegetable shortening. And then we're just going to just give the paste a little massage, but muddle in chocolate and marzipan. They said you don't have to put the vegetable shortening into the mold. So I'm just going to drop the paste into the mold. Just going to press this in with my cosmetic sponge here. And we're not going to use what would be the top of the seed head. So we're just going to put the pumpkin in like this. Okay. I'm going to use my little companion tool. Now the companion tool is a great little tool. You'll see I use this a lot. And this comes free with the Ultimate Filler Flour. So this includes a companion tool, which I'll be using this for the stem of the pumpkin, but we also do sell this separately as well. So I'm just going to push that in because this would be where the wire would go if you're making wired seed heads. And then what we're going to do is just going to use my little scraper here, just make sure that's flat on the back, because when you're especially making 2 halves to make a 3-dimensional pumpkin, you want to make sure that it's flat, okay? And we're just going to flex the mold. We're going to take your little, so you see this will be the top of the pumpkin. And then all I'm going to do here is I'm just going to use my little scraper and I'm just going to cut off the bottom part there. So you're going to get like a little square part. And then using my companion tool, I'm just going to just rock to create the ribs of the pumpkin here, like so. You see? So that's going to give you the half pumpkin. Now, then you're just going to just make a little hollow in the top. Going to make just a little hollow in the top. We're going to talk about the stem options in a moment. So that's half pumpkins, and of course you can make these well in advance. Now if you're wanting to make a 3-dimensional pumpkin, what you would do is you'd make 1 half like I just shown you, and then it's best to let this sort of firm up a little bit. So if you're using fondant, you could pop this into modified fondant into a food dehydrator for about 90 minutes to 2 hours, or just leave it 4 to 6 hours. If you're using modeling chocolate or marzipan, you don't want to put that in the food dehydrator because the warm won't actually do anything. It will just stay soft. So just let it air dry for a few hours and then you can use the other half, because we're going to stick the dry to the soft. In my Flour Pro range, there's pine cones and lots of different things you can find videos on that are made in the same sort of way. So now I'm just going to repeat the process and just going to pop another piece of paste into here. Remember, just press the stalk there like so. And then while that's in the mold, okay, so we're just going to press that on the top with my little scraper. We're going to put some piping gel onto this, so you can use piping gel. This is in a squeeze bottle, so you can just put some piping gel onto there. And then you can just rub that over with your finger. Or alternatively, you can also use a product that is a Nicholas Lodge brand product. It's called Super Bond. It's a very strong glue. You could also use corn syrup as well, okay? But you want something that's got a little bit of body to it. So piping gel, corn syrup, or Super Bond. And you see then what I do is I take my, this is sort of, was made a couple of hours ago. So now you're just going to take that. You see I'm just going to line that up like that. And then I'm going to take this out of the mold. All right, and see that's going to give me my 3-dimensional pumpkin. And then I'm just going to cut off that bottom part of the stalk on the other side. Okay, I'm just going to complete the ribbon around here. And then I'm just going to just press that in the other half. So you're going to make the little cavity there like so. And then when you're doing the pumpkins, to make the stalk of the pumpkin, I'm going to, now if you had a bakery and you had to make, say, 200 of these for cupcakes or whatever, this is really quick to do. Just pop in the paste in the mold. And then but you could also alternatively there, a quicker stem would be just to use a number 3 tip with green royal icing or green buttercream and just pipe the little stalk. And if you did them in royal icing, of course, they're a little bit more durable. So anyway, so now we're going to take a piece of paste here. So we're going to use the size guide and going to use this. So sometimes we use it small size, which means your paste physically goes through the hole, which is what I did for the pumpkin, which is number 11 small. Here I'm going to make a number 4 regular size. And so what you do here is you put this into the mold here, like into the size guides. There's about 1/3 of the paste below the hole and 2/3 above the top. Now this is gum paste, all right? I'm just using here green gum paste, and because it's a little bit firmer, so it's a little bit easier to handle, especially when you're doing half ones. I'm just going to make that into a little carrot shape. All right, this is about 1/2 inch long, just over 1 centimeter in length. And then what I'm going to do here is going to take my, this is my ultimate filler flower mold. So this mold actually makes 24 different flowers. So all of these flowers here, and there are U-tubes for all 24 of these flowers. And this is featured in book number 1. I have 3 books at the moment with Flower Pro. But this is a great mold for cherry blossoms, hydrangeas, lily of the valley. And this mold I'm using is actually a lily of the valley mold. So it's used to make lily of the valley. So what that is, it's this one here. There are 2 sizes. It's a smaller cavity. It's a little 6-petal flower for lily of the valley. So what I do here is I take my little carrot. I'm going to take my carrot there and I'm going to stick that down the hole. So the pointed end of the carrot goes in there. I'm just going to press that in with your cosmetic sponge. So you see what that's going to do, it's not going to fill the mold up because we want this to make the stem of the pumpkin. When you release this from the mold, as you see, you have a perfect little stalk for your pumpkin. And then when you're using this on the 3-dimensional pumpkin, you're going to put a little bit of piping gel in the center. Just going to place that on the top like so, okay? And then you can take your companion tool and you can just hollow that out just a little bit with your companion tool and you make a little pumpkin. Now, of course, you could make these pumpkins and you could dust them, but a lot of times if I was doing small things like this for cupcakes, I wouldn't worry about that. But you could, of course, airbrush this a little bit. And when you do the half pumpkins, what you do is you'd repeat the process, which I've already got one of those made here. And I'm just going to make another little stalk there. And then you just will cut this in half. So you can just take your little scraper here. Just going to cut that in half like so. And then what I would do there is just going to attach that to the half pumpkin like this. So you're just going to put a little bit of glue there. You see, you're just going to put little half pumpkins like that. Okay, so really cute. And then different options you can do here. So once the pumpkin is dry, you need to let it obviously firm up. You can take a food pen. This is a rainbow dust food art pen, which has got a really fine end here. And then you have just a normal sort of marker end. So you can actually do the little eyes on there. So you can just draw those on. And you can do little jack-o'-lanterns, which is cute to use for Halloween. And then also when you're doing the 3-dimensional pumpkin, you can actually just put those to dry in some convoluted foam. This is like crepe foam. And then once they've dried a little bit, you can take some spaghetti. So if you take about a 2-inch piece of spaghetti like this, and again you would put a little bit of piping gel or you put a little bit of Super Bond onto the end of this. It's going to just make it sticky. And you can then what you can do is you can take that and just push that into the bottom of the pumpkin. I'm just pushing that in the side that's the softer side, all right? But just leave it. And then you can just put them back in the convoluted foam like this. And this means you have, for example, on a cupcake, it means you can just push this into the cupcake because you've got a totally edible support system there. And obviously it's not going to be like a toothpick or a wire where somebody would have to remove that. They can just, it's going to be a little bit crunchy, but once you put that into a cupcake, the oil from the cake will just soften the spaghetti slightly. And but you can see here just really cute ideas for, as I said, for Halloween and for fall, half relief pumpkins, 3-dimensional pumpkins. So I hope you've enjoyed this YouTube video of making little pumpkins ready for fall and for Halloween. Remember to follow me on YouTube. Obviously you can subscribe and then you'll get notifications when we've added a new YouTube video. We have lots of great YouTubes showing lots of different applications on cakes, on cookies, on cupcakes, lots of really fun ideas. So until next time, this has been Chef Nicholas Lodge. See you soon. Bye.